Quick video this morning on the AJ crash. AJ, you've got a guardian angel, my friend. God had his arms wrapped around you then. Condolences to the deceased. So terrible, young people. It just goes to show you, it's a stark reminder, but people, you've got to start paying attention. When driving a vehicle, you've got to be on clock at all times in a sound mind. Please don't drink. When you think it's all right, it's not. Please don't drug. When you think you can, you can't. It's a stark reminder that life's most fragile when you're enjoying yourself at the most. You know, when you're in a good time and you're not thinking and everything's dandy, that's when tragedy can strike.
As we speak, Anthony Joshua, the former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, the man that just made probably, $50 to $100 million fighting and beating up Jake Paul, has been in a tragic car accident in Nigeria that killed 2 people. He looks to be at the moment okay, sustaining minor injuries, and I think as we speak being flown back to the United Kingdom for further testing. But a tragic story that I feel it's my job to talk about. I don't necessarily want to put undue attention on things that are very sensitive at the moment, but we are sports media and this is our job to cover all the happenings from your and my favorite athletes across the world. So let's talk about this. Anthony Joshua involved in a fatal car crash that took 2 of his friends away today in Nigeria. He was on holiday, it seemed.
I'm feeling extremely sad at the moment, given the news on Monday afternoon from Nigeria, from the road from Lagos to Ibadan, where tragically Anthony Joshua lost 2 of his very close friends, and family lost their sons. I don't know if they're fathers, but I've got to say it straight away to Kevin Ayodele and Sinogami. I don't know them intimately. Obviously, I've seen them around Anthony for a long time. Kind of good guys that pretty much keep themselves to themselves. As you know, they don't kind of come and talk to you all the time. They're very much Anthony Joshua's guys, and I've been with him a long time, and it was absolutely tragic to hear of their passing in a car crash.
By the accident. And in a statement, Matchroom Boxing, who of course are Joshua's promoters, they say he was taken into hospital for checks and treatment. He's now in a stable condition and AJ will stay for observation. And again, Matchroom said their deepest condolences, Jeff, are with all of those affected by the crash. So Anthony Joshua will emerge in one piece and have a recovery into the new year, but tragically lost 2 of his close friends and team in that crash.
Anthony Joshua, the British former world heavyweight champion, was seriously injured in a brutal car accident in Nigeria 2 days ago that tragically killed 2 of his close friends and team members. The crash on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway left Joshua hospitalized in stable condition, still under observation as tributes pour in from the boxing world.
I did receive video footage, raw footage of the aftermath of the accident, and I will not be showing those images in this video. And honestly, I hope you guys never see those images. It was just a horrendous scene and very sad. And the impact of those images, it just really made me very, very just even more sensitive to this tragic situation, which is why I find comments regarding a conspiracy surrounding this whole thing, including Jake Paul, as disgusting.
Gareth A. Davies emphasized the point that this news had a big impact on him. He explained the shock of this news, as it is a time when people are celebrating or unwinding. The important point was the grief over the 2 guys who lost their lives. He highlighted the 2 guys who had been around Joshua for such a long time. They were quiet guys who had been with Joshua all along as part of his crowd.
I'm feeling extremely sad at the moment, given the news on Monday afternoon from Nigeria, from the road from Lagos to Ibadan, where tragically, Anthony Joshua lost two of his very close friends, and family lost their sons. I don't know if they're fathers, but I've got to say it straight away to Kevin Ayodele and Sina Gami. I don't know them intimately. Obviously, I've seen them around Anthony for a long time. Kind of good guys that pretty much keep themselves to themselves. As you know, they don't kind of come and talk to you all the time. They're very much Anthony Joshua's guys, and I've been with him a long time, and it was absolutely tragic to hear of their passing in a car crash.
He also touched on how disturbing it was to see Anthony Joshua hurt and being helped out of the car on the roadside. The point was not the visuals themselves, but how unreal it felt knowing Joshua had been fine just hours earlier, relaxing and enjoying himself. That quick switch from normal life to tragedy was the main thing he kept coming back to, how fast everything changed with no warning at all.
And the weird scenes of Anthony Joshua in pain being helped out of the SUV on the expressway after the crash.
Yeah, just horrendous scenes that I don't think, no one could predict anything like this when it happens. Anthony and his friend were playing table tennis just a few hours before. I'd seen that go up on his story, just as you do, flicking through social media, and he's coming off the back of a huge event, and then tragedy strikes, and two men lose their lives. And
later on, Davies was more focused on the human aspects of Joshua. He talked about how fortunate Joshua was that he was able to walk away alive, although he was right when he said that just being alive does not mean that you are unaffected. This is an experience that you remember mentally and emotionally, especially when you realize that people will not come back home.
And maybe Anthony Joshua extremely lucky, so not to escape with his life. That this is something that they're going to have to deal with, over the next few weeks and years and months, as the families come to terms with their loss. And it'd be interesting to see how Anthony Joshua goes into 2026. We don't know whether he's sustained injuries as well. It was clearly a very, very threatening crash that they had on the Ibadan expressway.
Matt Hutchinson broke it down by focusing first on how serious and real the situation was. He explained that this was not just a headline involving a famous boxer, but a deadly road accident that took 2 lives. The key point he stressed was that these were not distant acquaintances. These were people who worked with Joshua every day, part of his inner circle, which makes the loss much heavier and more personal.
British heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua was involved in a car accident in Nigeria, which sadly resulted in 2 people losing their lives. Here to tell us more about it, TalkSport's Matt Hutchinson. Matt, what do we know?
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning. Yeah, awful news emerging yesterday, as you quite rightly touched on there. Just to give some context for any of our listeners and viewers who don't have the full picture, it happened on a major road near the Nigerian city of Lagos. That was at around midday local time yesterday, 11 a.m. UK time here. The 2 men who lost their lives were both Joshua's friends, but also parts of his close team, which makes it all the more tragic. So Sina Gami was his strength and conditioning coach, and Lateef Ayodele was his personal trainer. Absolutely awful news that Joshua's lost both of those 2. He emerged.
He then went into why this accident was especially dangerous, talking about the road itself and the conditions. The crash happened on a busy expressway that has a history of fatal accidents, especially during the holiday period when traffic is packed. The focus here was on how unlucky the situation was, a simple moment turning deadly because of the road, the traffic, and a split second of loss of control.
Both of those 2, he emerged from the wreckage in one piece, which we're all grateful for here at TalkSport. For context as well, the Nigerian officials say the black Lexus they were in collided with a stationary red truck. It was on this Lagos to Ibadan expressway. It's known as one of Nigeria's deadliest roads, with particularly heavy traffic, Jeff, at this time of year, as many Nigerians are heading back to their home country to spend some time with their loved ones over the festive period. We're told the car they were in actually lost control during an overtaking manoeuvre and then crashed into this stationary truck.
What really stood out was how Hutchinson balanced relief with heartbreak. He made it clear that people are thankful Joshua survived and was able to get out alive, but that relief does not cancel out the tragedy. Joshua surviving still means he walks away having lost two people he trusted and relied on. The message was clear that recovery is not just physical here, and the emotional side will take far longer.
By the accident. And in a statement, Matchroom Boxing, who of course are Joshua's promoters, they say he was taken into hospital for checks and treatment. He's now in a stable condition and AJ will stay for observation. And again, Matchroom said their deepest condolences, Jeff, are with all of those affected by the crash. So Anthony Joshua will emerge in one piece and have a recovery into the new year, but tragically lost two of his close friends and team in that crash.
Wade Plemons kept stressing that this story should never be treated like just another boxing headline. Yes, Joshua is a massive star, but the real weight of this situation is that two real people lost their lives. He made it clear that focusing only on Joshua being involved misses the point, because the pain belongs just as much, if not more, to the families who lost loved ones that day.
Let's talk about this. Anthony Joshua involved in a fatal car crash that took two of his friends away today in Nigeria. He was on holiday, it seemed, after the Jake Paul fight, going back home. Obviously, he's from Nigeria, and he took two individuals, and I want to be very sensitive to the people that lost their lives today, while also making sure that the story doesn't remain just that Anthony Joshua was involved in a car crash, because yes, that will catch headlines, and yes, you know, that is the reason that I'm making this video, is because Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest stars in the sport of boxing, and the fact that he has just come off a massive moment for his career, and you know, his notoriety and his spotlight is a big reason why he's back home in Nigeria in the first place. And this story obviously starts with his name, but it doesn't end there, as Anthony Joshua, luckily by the grace of God, and by the way, I should say, you know, prayers to everybody involved and their families, to those that have passed. I pray for grace for their family in this heightened era of social media where everybody is more focused on the attention grabbing, on the headline.
Another big part of what he focused on was respect, or the lack of it, at the crash scene. He was clearly upset by how people reacted afterward, especially those more interested in filming than helping or showing basic human decency. The frustration was not aimed at one person, but at how social media has changed behavior, turning tragedy into content instead of a moment where people slow down and act with care.
A click, and as we'll see in a second, you know, more people are focused on filming at the scene of a crime versus having some damn grace and some humility and trying to help people. But just an all-around awful situation. Joshua was, like I said, in Nigeria with two of his best friends. Again, I want to be sensitive here. I don't know the full names of these people, but and I certainly won't be showing any video of the deceased in today's video. I've seen that video going around on Twitter today, and again, makes me sick to my stomach to watch people parade around videos of the deceased laying deceased in the road and showing them no grace. That's just.
He also talked about how shocking it is that fame and money mean nothing in moments like this. Joshua had just come off one of the biggest moments of his career, but none of that mattered on that road. What mattered was survival and loss. The point was simple and very direct. Life can flip without warning, and no success protects you from that reality.
But it makes you realize that in a day like today, no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of accomplishments in this world will matter in terms of the precious value of life. Life is precious, and no matter if you make no money, no matter if you make tons of money, sure, your living experience will be different, and some live, you know, quote unquote better than others, but the gift, the ultimate gift, is life. And it didn't matter today that AJ was one of the biggest stars a week ago in the world. It didn't matter that he had this record-breaking boxing match. Didn't matter that he got paid a ton of money. Didn't matter that he was worth a ton of money. Today, all that mattered was God looked down on him and saved his life. And again, unfortunately for the two men that passed, they weren't as fortunate. And I pray for them. I pray for their families. I pray for AJ. But it just shows you how precious every day is, and how you have to take every day as a reminder that this life is short.
Jake Paul gave his reaction through X. The main point he made was that moments like this remind everyone what really matters. Boxing, money, and big events all fade when real life hits this hard. His message was focused on people first, not the sport, showing that even rivals can step back and recognize that safety, life, and health come before any fight or headline. He also made sure the attention stayed on the people who were lost, not just on Anthony Joshua surviving the crash. He acknowledged the two men by name and showed support for their families, friends, and for Joshua himself. Another strong reaction came from the showbiz adult. A part of his reaction was how disturbed he was by the aftermath footage. He made it clear that some things do not need to be shared online. Seeing raw images changed how heavy the situation felt for him, and it reinforced that this was a real loss, not content. That led him to shut down rumors and wild theories, calling them harmful and disrespectful to everyone involved.
And prayers to Anthony Joshua, to his family, to the family of the two men that lost their lives today. And you know, there are parts of this story that I don't care to speak about. Like I said, some of the graphic videos that are coming out of these individuals laying on the floor dead, and people just looking at their dead bodies and having their phones out filming it. I can't even imagine what is going through their minds. I mean, that type of, it's hard for me to even talk about this, man. That frustrates me. It pisses me off. It makes me sad for society that's how people are reacting in a situation like this.
He also shifted the focus back to the lives of the two men who passed, especially the work they were doing outside boxing. He highlighted how they were helping others, supporting kids, and giving back in real ways. That part mattered because it showed these men were more than names in a news story. They left behind impact, not just grief.
I saw him being pulled into another car, a police car, in the front seat. No ambulance, no emergency services, no EMTs, no blocking off the scene, no trying to protect the fatal and treat them with the respect they deserve, even in death. And again, some of that's systemic, but when I look at a video like this really pisses me off. This is Anthony Joshua trying to leave the car. And you know, I see this guy in the suit, he's trying to help Joshua, but you see these people with phones out, and you see them just blocking his way. No one clearing a way for this guy. Who knows what his injuries are at this point? People standing there with their phones out, filming him. We've lost our minds. As an entire human species, we have lost our minds. Where is the empathy? Where is the concern? Where is the understanding of the severity of this situation to help your fellow man by not making it about yourself and putting your damn phone away and getting out of it?
Toward the end, he made it clear that privacy was important moving forward. There was no need to dig into Joshua's injuries or turn this into constant updates. The message was simple: let the families grieve, let Joshua heal, and stop treating tragedy like something to pick apart for clicks.
And receive aid, and so the two people that unfortunately have passed, that they can at least receive some sort of dignity and aid if it's needed there. Imagine being Joshua. Imagine being those two people that lost their lives today, and this is how it happens in this state.
When something like this happens, it really makes you stop and breathe for a second. One normal day turns into a nightmare, and nothing feels the same after that. This is not about wins, losses, money, or boxing plans anymore. Two people are gone, their families are hurting, and Anthony Joshua now has to live with a moment that will stay with him for the rest of his life. That kind of weight does not just disappear. Right now, the only thing that matters is showing some humanity, giving people time. Healing takes time, especially when the loss is sudden and this close to home. Boxing can wait, life cannot. Moments like this remind us how fragile everything really is and how important it is to show kindness while we can. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by this tragedy. Let us know what you think in the comments below.